Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you in our show. Again, we are going to host the gentleman, the powerful man, the most awesome man around the world, who defend our rights, who defend the Christianity rights, who defend the morality, who stands with the principle. This person, Mr. Robert Spencer, is the director of Gihad Watch and the author of 10 books, like we said last time, including the New York Times bestseller, The Truth About Muhammad and the Politically Incorrect Guide to Islam. He wrote with Pamela Geller to Mr. Obama administration's war on America. Mr. Spencer has led seminars on Islam and Jihad for the United States Central Command, United States Army Command, and General Staff College, the FBI, and the United States Intelligence Community. He has also written over 300 articles about jihad and Islamic terrorism. He has been studying Islamic theology, law, and history in depth since 1980. All these things I mentioned is not enough about Mr. Spencer. Mr. Spencer also appeared in too many TV shows, like his record here, 3 times on different programs and C-SPANs, 2 times, 2 different program in CNN, 11 different programs in Fox News, over 36 times in many different radio programs or shows. 116 times he has been delivered his speech in different universities, colleges, and organizations around the country. That's for me and you and the principle of our country. We welcome Mr. Spencer in our show. Welcome you, Mr. Spencer, in our show.
Thanks very much. Happy to be here.
Mr. Spencer, I need to ask you a question here. It comes from your biography. First question, do you think all the Muslims are terrorists?
No, of course not. All Muslims are not terrorists. But the problem is that the terrorists who are Muslims, they justify their actions and they make recruits among peaceful Muslims by making reference to Islamic texts and teachings. And so they present themselves as the authentic Muslims, the true Muslims. And the Muslims who are not terrorists have not ever mounted any effective response to that claim.
Okay, how do you approve this? And Muhammad Badia, the Muslim Brotherhood, the head guy of Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, acknowledge and announce the war against America and Europe. How come?
Why? Well, they believe that that America and Europe have attacked Muslim lands, and so in that case, jihad becomes fard ayn, an obligation upon every individual Muslim, and so they believe that defensive jihad has come into play now because they think that America has invaded Muslim lands, and they think that the existence of Israel also constitutes an invasion of Muslim lands, and so they are fighting what they are characterizing as a defensive jihad against the United States. But of course, the problem is that after defensive jihad, there is always the offensive jihad. It doesn't end when they have defended Muslim lands. There is still the imperative to fight to impose Islamic law ultimately over the West and the world.
Mr. Spencer, we take you from Islamic terrorism to Southern Sudan once again. Mr. Clooney, he had been met President Obama in the White House about this issue, and nothing happened in a positive way. I saw him when his tears coming out of his eyes when he talking about 2.5 million Sudanese from Southern Sudan being killed in Southern Sudan in the Darfur area. Will the world, the international community will raise their hands for these people, or they will support the people in Southern Sudan?
The international community?
Yeah, the international world.
I don't think the international community will support the people in southern Sudan, because the international community has never shown any interest in the persecution of Christians. It's always non-Christians that they're concerned about. The human rights organizations don't care about Christians. And so they're not going to do anything about the people who are suffering in the southern Sudan as long as they remain Christian.
Okay, so other way, the Christian who suffer under Muslim regimes will suffer until the resurrection, or someone has to raise his hand and say stop?
Yes, somebody has to, but nobody in the West right now has the interest or the moral authority to do that. Right now there's a tremendous vacuum of moral authority in the West, and nobody is willing to stand up for these people.
All right. We have a negative way Mr. Obama shows the whole world toward this minority. He never raised his hand and asked the Muslim world that he acknowledged with this, when he divided the world to Muslim world and another world, I don't know what the other world is called. He never showed a positive thing or a positive situation toward the minorities. Do the minorities around the world have to find somebody else other than Obama, or another country other than America, to ask them to defend the rights in the Muslim countries?
Yeah, there has to be somebody else, because Obama's not going to do it. The problem is there isn't anybody else. Nobody is doing it. And this is a really very worrisome thing, that America has abdicated its moral authority at this point, when its moral authority is needed in the world more urgently than ever.
A week or 2 weeks ago, we saw a different situation, or a weird situation in Israel, when the Israeli people put Obama's picture and started to throw the picture with shoes. What does it mean? Why they doing that?
Well, I didn't know that anybody was doing that, but I think if anybody is really doing that, it's because in Israel, you say?
Yes.
I would expect that it's because Obama has reversed America's long-standing support for Israel and is abandoning Israel and adopting the jihadist agenda. This is the first time that an American president has taken this posture, and it bodes very ill for the United States as well as for Israel, because Israel is the only reliable ally that the United States has in the Middle East, and it is facing a jihad against it that will be only emboldened if Israel is destroyed, and will embolden those jihadis to come with renewed ferocity against the United States. And so it's not in our best interests at all what Obama is doing. And so this is why the Israelis, if any Israelis are upset with him, that is why. And I think that they're entirely justified in being upset with him.
Okay, I have another question before we get some calls. Some people need to ask you some questions. Last week, President Obama going to Air Force One, and he has a book, and one of the journalists asked him what this book. He told him that's an Islamic book. the journalist try to make himself clear, and he asked him, is this the Quran? He said, yes, I like to read this book when I'm on the air or on the plane. What's your comment on that?
Well, I'm very